Here we are with Mike in the Needles Museum, and we're going to get a little history about Snoopy over here.
That's Spike. That's
Our
Snoopy's
Spike.
brother.
Snoopy's brother, Spike.
Spike is here because Charles Schulz did second grade in Needles. That was in 1929. Charles was originally from St. Paul, and one of his uncles developed tuberculosis. And the doctors said, you need to get him to a dry climate. So the family moved to Needles. Needles is a very dry climate. So Charles did second grade in Needles, I believe in 1929. The house that the Schulz family lived in still stands. It is at 503 Palm Way in Needles. Charles always liked Needles, so when he decided that Snoopy needed a brother, it was easy to place Spike just outside of Needles. He lived with the coyotes. They didn't treat him very well, and that's why he was so skinny.
All right. It was a great story of everything like that. Well, we'll take a little walk through the museum and look at all the good stuff that you have.
The china that you're looking at was designed by a lady named Mary Coulter. The pattern is called Membrano, and she used ancient Indian mysticism as her design.
Really has some nice designs on it. I like that. You would think that would be like off of petroglyphs or something like that. Really cool. And here we have some more Snoopy stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get a good shot of that, but that is Charles with the family dog, who is Spike.
There's Charles with the family dog. I'll show you a little bit of some of the stuff here in the case. It's really cool to see old memorabilia like this. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't normally see this anywhere else until you come to these museums like this, and they have this kind of stuff. And the history that's here. Most people wouldn't even know how to use that, a rotary phone.
Yeah, that's very true.
Really neat. Some trophies from boating events here in Needles. Images of some old vintage boat there. Needles 21 River Marathon ends. All right. Some more glassware. Plates and drinks from the Santa Fe Railroad. Bunch of old lanterns from the railroad. Nice collection of different colored lenses. I like the blue one a lot. I'm sure the amber one is a hard one to find over there.
I've never seen an amber one.
Yeah, they really have some cool ones. Huh?
Red, of course, meant stop. The blue one, if you were operating a locomotive and they wanted you to go into a track and there was a blue lantern displayed there, that meant that men were working on or under that piece of equipment. Okay. So you didn't want to couple into that. Or you would either hurt or kill somebody.
Sure. It's interesting to hear. An old uniform. Some of the tools that they would have used. Water buckets. It's a nice little museum out here. If you're ever in the Needles area, you should definitely come in, take a look around, and see all the stuff they have. They give you a lot of information about all the artifacts that they have in here and the history of things. It's definitely worth stopping and take a look at everything.
I thought this was so interesting, the black ball.
Old wheelchair.
This display has to do with the Desert Training Center. When General Patton was getting ready to go to North Africa to confront Rommel, he knew that he had to train his troops to survive and fight in the desert. And they did that here. The training center was huge. It went from about 15 or 20 miles north of Needles on the California side all the way to Interstate 10.
Wow.
Those guys were a lot tougher than we are, or at least I am. In addition to all their other training, they had to run a mile a day with all their equipment on, and they were restricted to 1 canteen of water a day. I drink more than that sitting in front of the TV.
That would have been tough for guys back then. Well, that's where men were men in those days.
Yeah. Patton told his troops, he said, when we get to North Africa, the desert will kill more of you than the Germans will. So they were tough old birds.
At least they had a good upper hand to deal with the heat a little bit,
Yeah.
to acclimate their bodies to it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Some old road signs of the highways.
That's our Route 66 corner.
And if you guys have watched, we do have the Route 66 video at the Route 66 Museum. So if you ever want, watch that video. And that's a really cool card that they've made there. Erector sets. When kids actually built stuff and learned how to engineer stuff instead of just always playing some type of video game.
The riverboats were used on the Colorado. Most people associate stern wheel riverboats with the big rivers back east. But they were essential to putting this town together. You couldn't go out in the desert and chop down a tree to build your house. We don't have any trees. Most of the stuff to build the town of Needles were brought up from the town of Yuma. Why Yuma? Because the Southern Pacific Railroad had a reliable river crossing at Yuma. We didn't have a good railroad crossing here at Needles until 1890. So the boats were essential. Everybody benefited by the river boats. The Indians would chop wood.
And sell wood to the settlers and stuff back then?
And the riverboat captains for fuel.
Okay.
Initially, they would use cottonwood, which lined the river, and or they would go out in the desert and chop down mesquite, which is a very good fuel wood.
Nice hardwood.
Yeah. We have a lot of fun with that stuff with the kids.
Oh, I'm sure they love it. Skunk pelts. Some different rocks and stuff. And theirs would have been some of the old steamboat anchors. A couple taxidermy quails up there. We got a little rattlesnake skin there. A couple snake skins. We've got some desert turtle tortoise shells. Mammoth bones. Matates. And a really nice looking stone axe there. I like all the old pop cannons.
So I could read it later. That's usually what I do. We've been to open a few times. You know, I didn't see her on the storefront.
How you doing?
Good. Can I get you to sign our book?
Absolutely.
And a bighorn sheep skull. Alright, well there's a little walkthrough of the museum. Hopefully you guys like it. It's a really nice little place. So like I say, fully recommend you coming out here and taking a look at everything and come in and say hi to these guys. That's great. Until next time.